Here is why I ride a classic motorcycle, and why you should too. None of my friends or even my family understand why I own two motorcycles that are both over 20 years old. Still younger than me, but old enough to be registered as classic in New York. My best friend always teases me and asks why I ride these old things. What's the point? What if it breaks? It's over 20 years old. Something is bound to go wrong. What if you get stranded? No modern modes for riding in the rain and snow. There's no pre-installed GPS, no warranty. You have to do all the maintenance yourself. It's simply just inconvenient. What were you thinking? And so on and so forth. Until I simply nod my head and continue my speech on why old machinery has soul. And if I'm going to take a long trip and get myself into an adventure, I may as well do it on something that isn't so damn convenient all the time. I clearly understand the modern luxury of convenience. These days, a motorcycle is basically a car on two wheels, with its own Apple Android CarPlay, remote start keyless everything, maps, 3 different suspension modes, even automatic transmissions. And that's cool and all, but that's just not me. I'm not saying I'm super old school. I don't ride a 1960s shovelhead through the long stretches of Arizona. At least not yet. But I do own two beauties that mean a lot to me. That is my daily, a 1998 Honda VFR, and my touring travel behemoth, the 2001 BMW K1200 LT. Both bikes had a sad life until I got my hands on them. The VFR was dying at a halfway finished construction site in the Connecticut suburbs, sitting there with a blown engine, which I didn't even know at the time. I simply bought it because it's a V4, has gear-driven cams, and most importantly, it was red, and red is the fastest color. The BMW had a better fate. It sat in a heated garage, but hasn't been used in years. The clutch on it looked exactly what Parmesan cheese looks like when you ask for more at your local Olive Garden. Shredded. Plus, it had old rubber brake lines that literally imploded, which means you could technically take the bike for a test ride, but there was no way to stop it. And if you did squeeze the brakes, it would just bind and never release the caliper, pressing on the rotor. I bought the BMW because I wanted to share my love for travel on two wheels with my girlfriend, whose only previous experience of riding on a bike was as my backpack on the VFR, where the rear seat looks like something that's only big enough for one butt cheek. But the Beamer, this thing has it all. Backrest, armrest, massive luggage in the back and on the sides, along with heated seats and highway pegs. What else can you ask for? This isn't a video about how I found my bikes and fixed them. That is something I could save for another day. Today, I want to talk why I specifically choose to make these old boys my daily riders, either for work and around town, or across the country. I know many people say that classic cars and bikes have character. They speak to you, they're all made differently, they're not a copy and paste lookalike of today's world, where everything is similar in boring ways, where companies lose their ability, or their balls, to be innovative and introduce something new, something different from the competition. But that's not how it was back in the day, was it? Everything up to probably the mid-2000s was made with competition in mind. Brands did their best to stand out. You knew when you saw a BMW, when you saw an Audi, or when you saw a Mercedes. And honestly, these days, I sometimes mix up a Honda Accord and a BMW when I see them in traffic on the highway. I hate that I do this, and it's sad that it happens, but it's true. And this is why the pulse of the past calls upon me once again. My girl and I have done quite a bit of traveling on our old machine. The 23-year-old beast has taken us all the way to Georgia from New York in mid-November, and all the way to Colorado and back last summer, with a total of 8,000 miles between the two trips. That's it. That's the only time it comes out. It has a purpose. Its purpose is to take us far and get us there in one piece. I believe the bike takes pride in its job and it gets it done well. But you know what else this bike has that modern ones lack? Well, let's start off with styling. This thing has presence even when it's parked. It's big, it's over 800 pounds of rusty steel and sex appeal. It's also purple. I don't see new motorcycles coming out in different colors. It's like the modern industry color palette is 50 shades of gray, literally, black and blue every now and then. And obviously the Ducati red. That's it! You want to know the color of my bike? Mauve Pearl. That even sounds beautiful. It's this amazing metallic purple shade that even changes a bit depending on how the sun hits it. I love it. In fact, I'll show you. Next, it has old tech, and I'm a big fan of this. Yes, modern bikes have a touchscreen and many different ride modes, but you know what I have? That's right, buttons. And man, do I love the tactile feel of pressing buttons and getting a response from the action of my own finger. Modern touchscreen layouts on bikes can get annoying. Going into the touchscreen while riding in order to activate heated grips, it just sounds dangerous. To me, it just looks like someone shoved a giant iPhone in front of you and called it a day. Gotta get your screen time all the time, I suppose. My bike came with a CD changer plus a cassette player. Do you know how cool that is? To have a 23-year-old cassette player from BMW that works? I popped in an Eagles cassette in there a few days ago, and the mechanical sounds of the cassette going in, hearing it wind up, and finally playing Hotel California, that's priceless. Watching the action unfold in front of your eyes, many mechanisms doing their job perfectly just so you could listen to some music. This cannot be matched by simply pressing a button on the touchscreen. There is in fact no soul in that. It's too futuristic, it's too easy, and I don't like it. My front headlight is a regular halogen bulb that gives off this warm, yellow light that guides you through the night, like a lighthouse at sea, a beacon of hope as you traverse miles on end to get to a small motel on the side of the road. It's almost romantic, really. Unlike an LED that probably pisses off and blinds everyone that's going opposite direction of you. Yes, it's brighter, sure, but both can get the job done just fine. The throttle is not fly-by-wire, where a chip dictates how much power I get. I just have a throttle cable, a trusty throttle cable that I know will always open the throttle flaps and let in just as much air as my hand wants it to. Every time, pure, mechanical, and fully up to me. The gauge cluster. I cannot speak enough about analog gauges. They are so cool. They are cool in old planes, they are cool in old cars, and they are the coolest on old bikes. Amber orange backlight takes over as the sun goes down. The speedometer needle going up and down based on what gear I'm in. A mechanical odometer that flips over the miles you covered. And how exciting does it get when you're about to hit a big number and watch it turn? It feels like an actual accomplishment, not just a digital screen that could care less for your travel, that shows speed in a digital number with usually a hospital blue background. It almost feels as if the bike doesn't care about your progress. It just wants you to get from point A to point B without enjoying all the points in between. The 23-year-old onboard computer on my bike feels like I'm part of a NASA expedition. Probably the only digital thing on this bike, where numbers look like something on an old calculator you used back in 2004, usually showing me distance and miles per gallon, with that same friendly orange glow. It's just so cool, as if real care and thought went into making such a machine. Finally, cost and maintenance. Now, old bikes can get expensive. Parts are harder to come by, a lot of them will be second-hand market, but that is nowhere even close to how much you would be paying for maintenance on a new bike you just bought. If there's something warranty doesn't cover, or if the warranty simply ends, guess what? You probably still can't work on it yourself, because everything modern is made to take to the dealer. Computer chips that could only be accessed through special tools at the dealership, which charge about 3 times as much as a local mechanic. But what can you do? The local mechanic probably doesn't even have enough money for such tech, even if it's sold to the public, and that's a what if. Waitlisting, wait times, expensive labor, what for? If you're anything like me, you work on your bike by yourself. You don't trust mechanics to begin with and enjoy tinkering on a machine that brings you so much pleasure in the first place. I spend a lot of time tinkering on my bike. Sometimes not even because it needs any maintenance, but because I just want to see how it's built, what goes into the process, and just to get to know the machine that always has my back. Just in case emergency work is needed, I know where to look. I've done a lot to my bike, which is another reason why I think I'm closer to it than I would be to a modern one. Other than oil, air filter, and coolant, I also changed front and rear suspension, throttle cables, breather hoses, brake lines, plastic fuel connectors, and much more. One time, we even did an engine swap on my VFR. Jobs that required me to have the whole bike torn apart. I even changed the cracked plastics on my bike. I don't like the fact that my bike had broken pieces. If this thing is going to get me far, it's going to look good doing it. Take pride in yourself and your bike. I've been on and in my bike plenty of times, and there's still things I do not know about it. Some I hope I never even find out about. But my point is, it's easier to work on something old with your own hands, learn a new skill, and feel more confident with what you have, versus buying something so outlandishly technolized that you have to take it to the shop so they could use a fancy $3,000 scanner after an oil change. Again, sometimes old school is just the way to go. Finally, the price point. I bought my K1200 for $1,700. So far, it has brought me so many amazing memories, experiences, and excitement that it has paid for itself 3 times over. Whenever parts go bad, I turn to eBay. Plenty of parts for them on there. I believe the model did not change from 1998 all the way to 2009. That's 11 years of production, and most of them are owned by the older generation that took care of them and used them for the long haul trips. And honestly, you cannot go wrong with that. But this isn't a commercial for my bike. This is more of a love letter for the bikes of the past. Because you could go even earlier. You could get a Honda CB from the 70s and very much enjoy the hell out of it. Carburetors, no catalytic converters, and drum brakes. It's a totally different machine and feel. And then you could take it on a 5,000-mile trip. Just because. I still do not understand why I get so excited knowing that I'm going on a long-distance trip on my old motorcycle. I suppose because it's unique. You ride something that others simply don't have because they missed out when it first came out. Or because it's a niche bike that no one except you really cares about. Because being in regular car traffic on my shiny eggplant just makes the trip more interesting. People will always come up and ask questions at gas stations. What year? Where are you headed? Is it heavy? It's wholesome and very welcoming to get this kind of feedback. When throwing your leg over an old steed, you know what's up ahead. It isn't just a road trip, it's an adventure. Imagine this scenario. You put an actual key into your ignition, turn it 3 times, from lock to start. Hit the ignition button. The roar of the engine comes alive. You pop in your favorite cassette into the built-in player. Music surrounds you fully. And the backlit analog gauges keep you out of trouble from over-revving. Kickstand slides back, and you take off on your old machine, riding into eternity. You have no idea what's to come ahead, where you'll end up, and who you will meet. But you do know one thing for sure. Your best friend is with you, keeping you safe with the rubber side down and the shiny side up.